Yes. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell for me. So, I seem to have offended a few little fangirls. And I call you fangirls. You're not even fanboys. You're not even worth being called sycophants because you get so emotionally invested in a celebrity who doesn't even know you exist that if God forbid someone offers valid criticism of said basically deity, right? These people are deities in your sad, pathetic lives. Like, what are you guys' days like? Like, were you obsessed so much over a dude who doesn't even know you exist? Like, legit, if you were to drop dead right now with Alexander Usyk, Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, Boots Ennis, Tank Davis, Ryan Garcia, Shakur Stevenson, etc., none of these dudes would care if you freaking drop dead right now, right? It's just boxing. It's a sport. I've never understood people get that emotionally invested to the point where they lose their mind if somebody dares to criticize their sacred idol. It was a criticism, and a valid criticism of Alexander Usyk, which I'll reiterate. Alexander Usyk is ducking Ajit Caballel, Fabio Wardley, Moses Atalma, and in my opinion, ducked Joseph Parker as well. He's avoiding tough fights for whatever reason. I don't know. Do I think he's scared? It's hard to say that a guy with Usyk's pedigree is afraid of another fighter. I think he had, 400 amateur fights. He's been basically, since he's a pro, he's been fighting at world level. He had like 5 kind of novice-y prospect level fights where he beat up some Uber drivers, which every fighter does. Every fighter does that. And then I think, what did he fight for a title? It was after like his 6th or 7th fight. It was really early in his career. He got his first title shot, which I think was against Glovatsky. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that was his first title fight. So it's hard to say that Usyk is scared. I'm not calling him a coward, but I think he's playing the game. And that's not fair to the fans who have made him enormously wealthy, who purchase tickets to his fights, who support him online, who buy his merchandise, who bought into the character like you fanboys do, who paid the ridiculously high, rapacious pay-per-view prices, especially here in the United States. And they supported this guy. And now that he's reached the apogee of his career, he does a complete 180 and is doing exactly what he was criticizing Tyson Fury of doing. Taking gimmick fights, bullshit fights against non-boxers and avoiding the real competition in the sport. I have an issue with that. So all I did was voice those concerns, but you had the fanboys in the comments who couldn't even articulate an intelligent rebuttal to what I was saying. There were a couple people who voiced their opinions, and it's cool. I mean, if you don't agree with me, that's fine. I don't care. I'm not somebody who gets emotional when you don't agree with me. I enjoy it. Let's have a debate. But I don't have time for soft-ass, pussified, estrogen-filled soft boys who get their panties all in a bunch because I dare criticize their favorite fighter. I'm a steal a quote from a famous boxing YouTuber. No fighter is above criticism and no fighter is below praise. And I agree with that. Alexander Usyk, again, has had a praiseworthy career. But right now, he's on some bullshit. And y'all need to wrap your tiny little brains around that fact that he's fighting a kickboxer, right? I had one guy in the comments say, well, this fight was Turkey's idea. And so Usyk is just going along with it because he wants to keep Turkey happy. The fuck? Alexander Usyk is, what, 40 years old. He's 40 years old. He has millions of dollars. He legit has fuck you money now. That's a fact. Alexander Usyk has attained fuck you wealth. He has the kind of money where he can tell any man on this earth to go bleep themselves and he'll be fine. He ain't got to go punch a clock. He doesn't have to work for the man, right? Most of his income for the rest of his life will come from dividends, coupon payments from bonds, rent from real estate he owns all over the world. This dude doesn't need anybody for a paycheck. So the idea that he needs to still go along with Turkey like he's some average Joe brokey living check to check is just, again, nice try, but it's really kind of a lazy attempt at defending your God, your deity, right? This man, if Alexander Usyk went to Frank Warren and said, hey, yo, Frank, set up a fight between me and Aji Caballel in Berlin, that fight would be jumping, right? That would be a dope event, right? I would love to go to that, you know? I pray one day I have the money to like maybe go to AJ Fury or even just see him fight in person. Like, I'm a big critic of Tyson Fury, but I'm not a big enough critic to ever lie on a man's talent. I thought his fight last week was trash, but he's a talented fighter. I would love to see him just because I love the game. I love the sport, and I love high-level practitioners of the sport, you know? So same with, like, if Usyk fought Caballel in Germany, right? We saw that Caballel can pull a crowd, so it's not like he's someone who doesn't bring any money, doesn't bring any eyeballs, right? Germany has a large Turkish population, and the Kurdish population is within the Turkish population because there's no Kurdistan, right? Kurdistan would be somewhere in between Turkey, Iraq, and Syria if it were an actual country. So he has a strong base of support there, a lot of eyeballs, and Germans are open to people from Ukraine, right? They celebrated the Klitschko brothers. They adopted the Klitschko brothers. That's where they were based for a long time. So the idea that Usyk couldn't get paid, let's say he took $10 million. God forbid he only gets $10 million for 2 months of work, right? It's wrong to say you get paid millions for 35 minutes of work. How long is a boxing match? 36 minutes of work, right? That's not true, right? They're putting their bodies through hell, you know? So it's not the fights that take a lot out of the fighters. It's the training camp. It's the running. It's the sparring, all that jazz. But still, $10 million is more than enough money for 2 months of work, right? Most people work their entire lifetimes and never see $10 million, never even come close. And this guy who's already made upwards of over $100 million in career earnings by now, especially if you're just taking the purses from his last 4 fights, he's made over $100 million. So the idea that he couldn't just start taking on mandatory challengers, yeah, take a pay cut. God forbid you get a little bit less money. That's what I was talking about in the last video. That's the way the elites think nowadays. I have to have every cent. God forbid I only get $5 million. No, I need 30 to get in the ring. And most of these guys gas out after 4 or 5 rounds. It's like, what are you doing in training anyways? Like, but let me not get sidetracked. Usyk could go and fight Caballel for $10 million in Berlin. He could go fight Fabio Wardley for probably even more money, or Atama for probably even more money. These guys are stars now. They're bringing in big crowds, right? There's no evidence that Usyk is this major star. Like, again, boxing is dead in America for sure. But if he was a legit star, even people in America would know who he is. Like, he's not the big brand that people make him out to be. right? We've never seen Usyk just have a fight against a nondescript opponent or kind of a regular contender and have just a massive crowd, right? We have yet to see that. Like his last fight against Dubois, I would argue Dubois was bringing in more of the crowd, right? He just beat the brakes off of AJ. He took AJ's soul. You know, he took AJ's soul. So I feel like people were kind of there. It was 50-50. It was like, okay, what can Dubois do now? So this idea that Usyk somehow needs to get another massive payday, that just falls on deaf ears. The idea that he has to bend the knee and genuflect in front of Turkey, again, is just ridiculous. It's just low IQ, lazy arguments. Instead of just accepting the fact that your guy is human, your guy is greedy like the rest of them. And that's the truth. He's being greedy. Let me get an easy fight, make a lot of money, beat up this kickboxing dude. Yeah, I don't care if Rico's trained with Peter Fury, Matty Harris, sparred Tyson, sparred Huey Fury. That's sparring, right? We've never seen that guy in a boxing ring with small 10-ounce gloves with a legit boxer. Don't show me the kickboxing, because if I've seen what I've seen from the kickboxing, there's not a lot to be impressed with in terms of his hands. Very repetitive, very basic. Doesn't have great head movement. He's gonna get touched all over and stopped. I'm picking Usyk to beat Rico in 6 or 7 rounds. Easy. He's gonna stop him. Easy. Right? So don't tell me this guy's a formidable challenger, and I don't want to hear about how the crooked WBC recognizes Muay Thai and recognizes kickboxing. That's cool. You can have a WBC kickboxing belt. But what we can't have is a kickboxer jumping the queue and taking opportunity away from real boxers who pay their sanctioning fees. They've literally paid their dues, not only with their purses, but with their lives. And for Usyk to not honor the game that has given him so much is foul. There's no other way to look at it. It's foul. If you're the best and you're the champion and you hold the belts, your obligation is to fight contenders. Your obligation is to fight the best available challengers. As a champion, that's your obligation. That's your burden. You have a burden. There's a burden that comes with those belts, right? Heavy is the head that wears the crown. You can't call yourself the king and then be scared of a challenge. Right? If we want to take it back to the Middle Ages, imagine if a king is like, oh, you know, that rebellious noble over there, I'm just going to ignore him. I'm going to go and take on an easier challenge against a noble with less money. How would that work? Not too well. But somehow the king is able to have the mentality of someone who is looking to make business decisions. He's more worried about self-preservation. He's more worried about his brand. I want a champion that's about that life. And right now, Alexander Usyk is cheating the game. Now, as I replied to another commenter, if Usyk were to drop the belts and say, I'm no longer champion, I'm on my farewell tour, I don't want to fight these young dudes. Like, credit to Tyson Fury. He said it openly. I'll give Tyson Fury some credit here, right? And I'm a big Tyson Fury critic. He openly said, the only fight I'm interested in is Anthony Joshua. I'm not interested in up-and-comers. I'm not interested in a Moses Atama looking to build his name off of mine when I'm old and past my prime. I want to be the best of my generation. So I want to fight Joshua. I want that name on my resume. I respect that from Tyson Fury, right? And again, he holds no belts. So again, no fighter is below praise and no fighter is above criticism. And that's how I stand, right? I'll give praise where praise is due. I'll give credit where credit is due. If Usyk were to drop the belts and say, I don't want to fight these guys anymore, I'm going to do my own thing, I'm going to cash in on my brand. I'm going to have fun fights that I want to do. Fair enough. You're not holding up the division. Caballero can get his shot. Atama can get his shot. You know, Wardley can get his shot. Even though he's already a champion, no one views him as a champion. He's a belt holder. He's not a champion, right? Usyk is the champion. He's never lost his belts in the ring. He's the best in the world. Everybody recognizes him as the best in the world. Like, it's annoying having to explain this stuff. Hardcore fans understand, but it's annoying having to explain it to casuals just because of how just fragmented the boxing market is. It's annoying. But if Usyk wants to take on kickboxers, if he wants to fight MMA fighters, drop the belts, right? AJ fought Jake Paul. I thought that fight was a joke, to be fair. And I was disappointed in AJ for platforming Jake Paul. Again, AJ, he's made more money than anybody. Again, greed. He was being greedy. I'll say it again. Anthony Joshua was being greedy fighting Jake Paul. But at least he didn't have any belts. He wasn't holding anything up. What Usyk is doing is more egregious than what AJ did and what Fury did in fighting Ngannou. Right? AJ's fight against Ngannou doesn't count because that fight only happened because, one, Wilder fumbled the bag by getting schooled by Joseph Parker, because AJ and Wilder were supposed to fight initially. So let's start there for all you Wilder fanboys. Two, Francis Ngannou was legitimized by Tyson Fury. And I don't want to hear this, oh, well, Tyson Fury wasn't in shape and Tyson Fury didn't really train and Tyson wasn't ready. And if he had been serious, that's the stuff that the UK media and British fans do that just grinds my gears. When Tyson performs badly, he didn't try. It's always, well, he didn't try. He wasn't in shape. It's kind of like Dave Allen, like a guy who gets 1,000,001 opportunities. He sucks. That's the bottom line. He sucks, he's fat, he's lazy, and he doesn't let his hands go, right? And with Fury, my opinion is that when Fury doesn't have the overwhelming size and strength advantage, he struggles. Or he just turns into a point fighter. We saw that against Klitschko. We saw that against Ngannou. Right after he got dropped, he was all on, I'm just going to touch you, tippy-tappy, run around the ring like I'm a midget, instead of fighting like a dude who's actually 6'8", 270. I'm going to run around the ring, flick out my jab, because I can't physically impose myself on this guy. He could physically impose himself on Deontay Wilder, whose calves are skinnier than my freaking forearm, who only weighs 210 pounds. Dude weighs the same as me. Of course he can do that to him. So, yeah, again, Tyson Fury legitimized Ngannou, and so AJ fought him and knocked him out. So AJ's fight against Ngannou doesn't even count, in my opinion, as one of those novelty fights, because Ngannou came in a made man after beating up Tyson Fury. That's facts. That's the only reason that fight happened. Ngannou had credibility because he beat up the then heavyweight champion of the world. So, low-key, I'm hoping Rico starches Usyk, because I think that what Usyk is doing is indicative of the mentality of so many of the guys in this sport and so many people in the elite classes of global society. I can do whatever I want. I can just throw whatever slop I want out there. I can give people less and less and less and charge more. I guarantee you they're going to put that fight on pay-per-view. Oh, man, it's undisputed versus undisputed. Rico Verhoeven, he's the best kickboxer ever versus Usyk, one of the greatest heavyweights ever. No, it's a sham. It's a way to rip off fans to get millions and millions for not doing anything special. Oh, man, but it's going to be at the pyramids. I can go watch videos of the pyramids online. I can go travel to Egypt. That's not what I want to see. I want to go see, when I pay for a fight, I want to see two guys challenge each other. I want to see two guys in peak form who come from the same sport, who are in tremendous shape, and they're ready to go. I don't want to see an expert master boxer against a novice. I don't care if you kickbox. It's not the same thing. Like, Rico's like, I'll bring kickboxing angles. Okay. If he could have been successful in boxing, he would have stuck with it. I know he's Dutch, and Dutch, kickboxing is really big, but still, ain't no money in that. They ain't getting the kind of bread that boxers are getting. There's a reason why kickboxers and MMA fighters risk severe humiliation to come and box some of the best boxers in the world, because the money in boxing is just way more. We already know that Dana White ain't paying. That's why Rico didn't go to the UFC. Dana White tried to put him on a slave contract and probably told him that he got to shine Donald Trump's loafers like he does with his tongue, So let me not ramble, man. I just wanted to share my thoughts and give my response to the mentally weak fanboys. Like, dude, I'm an AJ fan. No fighter gets more criticism from fans, especially hardcore fans, than AJ. AJ breathes, and there's literally like 1,000 trolls in the comments saying the most vile things about the guy. I offer a small criticism of your daddy, and you guys lose your minds. Like, dude, it's just boxing. I have the right to an opinion. Stop being so damn sensitive. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'm out. Peace.